He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi a better place to live, work, and play. You know, I like to think about my goals in life. You know, one of the things I always like to do is try to wake up every morning and think about living today like it's my last day. You know, my cousin actually shared something on Facebook, and I thought it was pretty powerful. It said, whatever you want to do, do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. And that was Michael Landon from Bonanza that said that. But, you know, the pandemic opportunity or the pandemic situation has created an opportunity for us to remind ourselves what in life is important. And, you know, we've gotten closer to our families. We've gotten closer to our neighbors. There's not all bad in the pandemic situation. I can assure you that. So whatever you want to do, do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. Very good one. Hey, today we got a great show. In the first half, we're going to be talking with Bill Lavers, who's the executive director of the Harrison County Development Commission. And in the second half, we're going to be talking with Wayne Rodolfich from the Pascagoula Gaucher School System and the superintendent of the year last year. He is such a visionary in the education arena. I can't wait to get an update from him about what's going on. And Bill, before we move to you, I saw just as we were coming on that Huntington Ingalls Industries was awarded a $936 million contract to build another Navy destroyer. It's incredible how important Ingalls, that often talk about Ingalls being the bookend on one end and Stennis Space Center being the bookend on the other end, and all the stuff that's going on in between, the economic development, the tourism, the incredible place that we had to live here. But it's great to see, even in this mode of pandemic, that Huntington Ingalls continues to move forward very aggressively. They're super important to us, aren't they?
They are. They are.
So it's been over 2 months since we talked. I was amazed by that because it seemed like it was not that long ago.
Part of it seems like, you know, it's like a marriage. It didn't seem like we've been married that long, but it's been a long. You know, so
yeah, it is. We had a terrific conversation last time, and I remember you said that you had talked to 4 CEOs just that week, and that the phones were ringing and all of that. I'm just curious, as the pandemic has continued to sort of unfold, has activities still remained high?
Yeah, and you're good luck, because before we got on this call, I got an email with a contract that I've been chasing for about 4 months. So
wow.
It's only. It's not a $900 million deal like Ingalls, but we'll take every base hit and bunt we can get for a new business wanting to expand in Gulfport and Harrison County.
You know, your compadres over in Jackson County had George Freeland on recently, and he mentioned that he's really looking forward to making a couple of big announcements before the end of the year. And as you saw, your other compadre over in Hancock County, they made an announcement this week, Bill Cork and his team. So really, you know, it's good to see it. I mean, all the economic development people say the same thing, that there's tremendous opportunities in the works, and hopefully we can pull some of that off. You know, the flag issue is behind us now, but I know that your commission also, like all the others, supported the efforts to get this flag changed. Anything you want to say about that?
Commissioner Sneed, who's a previous guest of yours when you first started the show, made the motion to support the change of the flag, and Warren Conway seconded it, and it was unanimous vote at our meeting on the 16th. So that was our message. We didn't do a resolution or anything, but we felt like it was time to change for the betterment of all of Mississippi for the future.
Yeah, I think that we're moving in that direction now, and I've had numerous talks with economic development people all across Mississippi, and they're thrilled now that they don't have to explain that flag. And again, we don't know how many deals we didn't get because people just didn't consider us because of the situation that existed. Hey, I want to make sure people understand the Harrison County Development Commission, and your Bob Bernard Industrial Park, Long Beach Industrial Park, North Harrison Industrial Park, and Socia. You sell land, you lease land, you have over 400 customers in your water and sewer systems, And as you mentioned your board just now, as it related to the flag, you have a 12-member board. They're appointed by mayors, the board of supervisors, and the governor. And it's a strong organization that's doing a lot of different stuff. But one thing we talked about before we started, for people who know the industrial seaway in Gulfport, it may be that that's all you've always known it just to be there, but someone had to have the vision 60 years ago to create that. And now looking back on that, what incredible vision that was to build that. It made a difference, didn't it?
It really did. And the name Dido, as Warren's grandfather, was one of the instigators of that. And to think about not being here then, but to think about what they had to do to convince people to cut that seaway in. And now, the 2 acres that we're selling on Seaway Road is because of that previous forethought and investment in our community. So, and it took us a little while to sell that 2 acres, unfortunately, but everything has its time. So, and not just the seaway, but the businesses that are developed along there, the railroad that we're still trying to reconvene back into service along the seaway to provide that necessary mode of transportation to those industries, both for import and export. And it's kind of mind-boggling if you try to do that today. How much fun would it be trying to convince somebody? And we actually have the map in the front law office of the original plan was to take it all the way to past Christiane. So,
wow.
They got stopped by the cloverleaf of the interchange. But just think about how difficult that would be today with environmental rules and all the other things that have come into play, because when they cut the seaway, there was no EPA, there was no Corps of Engineers, there were no wetlands permits, there were no, there were some of those things, but not nearly to the degree they are today. So, yeah, very thankful, very appreciative. And our job for all of us, me, George, Cork, all of us, is we have to think about, like Wayne Gretzky says, we got to think about where the puck's going to be, not where the puck is. So we've got to try to get to where our next adventure's going to be. And, Cork wants to go to Mars. I'm okay staying here. But that's what we've got to do. We've got to think ahead and be planning for what's the next best thing for our community.
Hey, let's do this. I know you've got a laundry list of things you want to talk about, and I want to get to those. But before we do that, real quick, I wanted 2 things. First of all, how are your current clients doing? What's the nature of their situation these days related to the pandemic? And then how's your team doing?
Team, let me answer that first. They're great. We came back May 4th. They were basically begging me to come back to the office. They didn't like the lockdown too much, and we're taking precautions here in the office, social distancing. If anybody knows Marcia Crawford, who runs our coastal partnership, she has an 8 to 10 foot perimeter, not 6 foot social distancing. So we stay out of Marcia's way in the office. But everybody's glad to be back at work. Their families are doing well. No, we haven't had anybody test or really know anybody, so we're thankful for that as well. As far as the business, it depends on what, we did a report that's on our website, mscoast.org, under news. We did Chamorro Data Economics did an analysis for us. And a lot of our industries weren't impacted because the military, just like the Ingalls contract, DOD contracts didn't get canceled. The bases didn't lose any real, employment. So a lot of our customers were deemed essential. So the other thing that report pointed out was that because of our drive-in nature for tourism, they felt like we would be one of the first places to recover because people would, instead of flying to the Caribbean, they might drive in from Atlanta. So we view that as an opportunity for people that may not have ever come to the coast before to have that first experience, to experience the hospitality of the coast and the food and the variety, and then go back home as parents and say, you wouldn't believe what we saw in Pass Christian, Gulfport, Biloxi, D'Iberville, Long Beach. Can't leave anybody out. So, that I think is an opportunity for us on the horizon as we maybe get more exposure and more people here that wouldn't have considered us before because it was easy to get on an airplane. So if you were in the oil business, it's not a good time. We talked to a chemical company yesterday that's gone from 3 shifts to 2. So it's hit or miss, but most of our industries have succeeded, and a lot of them are hiring and continue to hire. Golden Metals is hiring. U.S. Marines hiring. Seaman Composites is hiring. So they're still, they have their foot on the gas still. So we're happy and proud for that.
I have a very good friend of mine who works for Harvey Golf, and it's been hard watching through his eyes the challenges the oil industry has had. Really difficult time for them. Yep. Hey, so why don't we do this? When we come back, we'll pick it up there. I want to make a quick point about the tourism industry that you just mentioned and the opportunity there for us, and then we'll get to the other things on your list. So this is Bill Lavers, the Executive Director of the Harrison County Development Commission, and we'll be back right after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to SuperTalkMSGulfCoast.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Bill Lavers with us. He's the Executive Director of the Harrison County Development Commission. And one of the things you said before we went to break, you were talking about tourism opportunities that are available to us. And for a second there, you actually sounded like Milton Segura, who's been on the show a number of times. And, Milton got this early on, that one of the keys to our success going forward would be that since 80% of the people who already came to coastal Mississippi before the pandemic came by car, that it was going to create a really great opportunity for us as people are going to be somewhat leery about traveling by plane. Even though, in my conversations with Clay Williams, we're beginning to see the flights begin to uptick again, and the airport's doing a really good job of managing that growth back again. It's like you guys and like the other economic development folks, the airport was on fire in the days going into the pandemic. But Milton says that we've got to be seen as a place that's safe to visit. And, we've seen an uptick in COVID. Some of that the doctors that I talked to and the administrators that I talked to on the show say that they expected a slight uptick because of the reopening of the economy. But in the show, I always try to remind people that the pandemic is definitely real. I had a family member, not my immediate family, but in my extended family, have a family member that came down with COVID this week. And it was, when it hits home like that, it reminds you, and the fact that, she's a younger person, so she's going to quarantine herself. But, if she were to come in contact with some of the older members of our family, it could be devastating. And we just kind of keep that front and center. The thing is, I think when people are out, if they'll just wear a mask when they're in public and social distance and wash their hands and not go out if they run in a fever, and especially protect the vulnerable, that we can continue to send a message to the world. This is a safe place to visit. That's so important. And I appreciate, it's interesting that in your role, you see it and you're a partner in that effort. And I really appreciate you bringing it up. So, Bill, what else is on your mind? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, to that, just a little add on to that. Stacy Pickering came last week. I think it was last week, and visited us with the Mississippi VA and how so many people want to retire specifically to the coastal counties from all over the country, not just Mississippi. So, and he met with Milton. So, if you come for a visit and then you decide this is a great place and you might have a business that you might want to relocate, that's okay too. So
yeah.
It's all fine. We don't focus on tourism as much as Milton does, but it's part of our conversation because our business owners come here, they see the quality of life, they see the variety, and they go back home, and that's what they're talking about, and that's what we want, because then they might find somebody that, well, I hadn't thought about that. I need to go up there and check that out myself. So we've been the direct recipient last year of 7 different countries and probably over 100 people coming to Mississippi for the first time, and we get to witness what all of us know in the community but we get to hear it in German and Colombian and Peruvian. How much they really had no idea what. And Mayor Hughes talks about that all the time. So does Fofo. So does Chipper. So does George, and so does Mayor Quay. So I can't leave anybody out. So a quick list of things that we've done since the last
Hey, incidentally, Bill, before you move on, real quick, Stacy Pickering has done a great job representing the veterans community. I was glad he got a promotion yesterday, actually, and he's going to be headed up to the national level and working on the national level. So, good for him.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Great ambassador for Mississippi. We look forward to partnering with him. He came because of the Coastal Partnership, and then I got to put my clause into him about economic development and other things while he was here. Last time we talked, we had Project Batman and Robin that are basically solar projects that we're working on. We now have Project Batgirl, which is not a solar project, but it's somewhat related, and it's in Socher. We have Project Bald Eagle. We have Project Rocket. I'll let you figure out what that is. We have Project Yellow Submarine. I just told you we got a 2-acre contract this morning. We put together a deal. We had 2,800 feet of rail in Long Beach that hadn't been used in 30 years. We put a deal together on it for a company that needed the extra warehouse space for rail cars because of the pandemic, and they paid to improve it, and we're making a lease payment off of that. So it was a good deal for both parties. We have FL Crane. This is a picture. I'm going to try to do this. This is a picture. Their 60,000 square foot facility in Socher. They moved the cranes in about 2 weeks ago. So that's an active job site up in Socher.
Wow. That's a big facility.
60,000 square feet. And it'll employ about 50 people. And great family-owned business in Mississippi. They make the skin for Hospital Corporation of America, Chick-fil-A, a lot of hotels. So they do prefab construction in that building and then shrink wrap it and ship it all over the country. And they put together a building in 8 days instead of eight weeks or 8 months. So great technology, great people to deal with. We also have tomorrow we have a site visit with a company that's going to bring some really cool technology. And I'm going to walk out the back door real quick. We got this is another great example. While we were in the pandemic, this guy, Tim McGee, owner of Advanced Collisions, who I love, is very impatient. So we met on the grass during the pandemic, and he bought this lot, and he's building a 9,000 square foot building to house his wife's accounting part of the business and a lot of his other ancillary things that he does. He's working on a special project for the aquarium, and I love people like Tim that I got to get out of their way because they're going to run me over to get started doing something. So that makes our job fun. And it felt good. That was during the pandemic. I got to walk around in the grass and talk to somebody about a deal. And, that we put that deal together in about 4 weeks. And that's the second building.
Just real quick on Tim, I've known Tim for many years and have followed him. He spends a lot of time in the Bahamas, but after the hurricane, I don't know how many times he went back to provide, supplies and aid for the people in the community there that he had fallen in love with. That was just incredible to watch that. I don't know how he finds the time to do all those things.
And I run about 100 miles an hour. He probably runs about 140 to 150 wide open all the time. And, there's a little infomercial for Tim, but
well, we need leaders like Tim. Those entrepreneurs are the ones who make this place tick. They provide jobs. They give back to the community. You can't have enough Tim McGee's. And
we have another. We're going to pass Christiane tonight, a public hearing for planning and zoning for another customer like Tim McGee that wants to move in a crab dock into the neighborhood. And so great customer there as well. We're working on clearing. I was going to clear 17 acres. I wrote the note down and then got the contract for 2. So now it's only 15 on Seaway Road to get the trees out of the way to prepare for who wants to come next on some of those sites. And then I've got another deal right here, literally out the back. I've sold all the land kind of in intraplex except for one little 6-acre piece, and I've cut that up to make it corporate court, which is smaller lots, and I should get a contract on that today for the first lot in that section. So this sign behind my head says knowledge. I mean, imagination is more important than knowledge, so we practice that around here every day. So we, if we've got a piece of land that we've had for 20 years that's 7 acres and nobody wanted it, well, let's cut it up and see if somebody wants a smaller bite of that pie, So we do that, and we've got this visit tomorrow I'm really excited about. I can't really talk too much about it yet, but we've got a really, really cool company coming with some very cool technology. And we talked last time about what we do with the kids in C-Force. We're an ACT workforce ready community now. We did that in 6 months. We had a 1-year goal. Brandy Huff and Marcia and Mel at the port and Sandy Comer East at Gulfport High School worked very, very hard to accomplish that in record time. The press release was just released yesterday. It's on our website, mscoast.org, under news. And so with that, we're still doing C-Force. It's been curtailed a little bit because of the pandemic, but we still have students deployed in small business. And this new company, when we have a follow-up, I'll have pictures of this new deal because it's going to have already happened by then, and it's going to be great for the community, and it's also going to be great for the kids, and it's going to be great for the military. I mean, it's going to be great for everybody, and it's some really insane technology that we need, that other people have, but we don't have it on the coast, and we're going to get our chance to ride along with that, I hope. So wish us luck tomorrow from 11 o'clock. We got a team of about 6 people coming for a visit.
Wow, that's awesome. Good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck. Thanks.
It's awesome to hear the enthusiasm in your voice because, you get into this pandemic situation, you really don't know what we're going to face. But in some ways, technology has enabled us to continue to communicate, and in some cases actually provided more time to visit and have longer conversations and all that. So, Bill, we're running out of time, but here's what we'll do. We'll have you back in 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll just stay in touch with you. That's going to be my commitment to the economic development people along the coast because your work is so important. I think it's even doubly important for me and for us to continue to educate people about the roles that you play in our community and why it's so darn important that we provide our assistance to your efforts at any opportunity we get. So thank you for your leadership and appreciate your friendship.
Well, same here. And I'll make this guarantee. The next time we talk, we'll have a whole new list of things to talk about because we're crossing the old things off the list and getting those done and moving on to the next one. So I appreciate your support. Yeah, helping us get the word out about what we do, and it's fun and it's exciting, And if you ever want to learn a little bit more, come by the office and we'll, ride along with me for the day. Frankie Castiglia has regretted that a couple of times because can I go home now? And it's like 6:30, and I'm like, no, we got a dinner to go to, So
we got to end it here, but we'll talk to you in a few weeks. This has been Bill Lavers from the Harrison County Development Commission.